everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Isabel and I am a young mom to my 1-year-old Amos. And today I wanted to do a redo of my life story video, I guess. I already did a video about this, but I did it a while ago, a couple years ago now, when I was pregnant with Amos, and I don't like how it turned out. It's still up, it'll remain up. But I feel like going forward in my YouTube journey, I want to redo it and make it a little bit better and a little bit easier for people to watch. So let's get started. I feel like the story really starts when I met Curtis. Curtis is Amos's father and now my husband. I met him when I was 18 and we were both doing a Bible camp together, I guess. We were both missionaries for it, and we were teaching young kids about our faith. And Curtis and I are both Catholic. Our faith teaches that in relationships you should remain chaste, which means that there's very little physical affection. Like holding hands, kissing, those things are fine. But as far as that, like that's it, and you wait to do anything further until marriage. Anyway, this is important information to know, just like what our faith teaches going forward, and what Curtis and I had grown up knowing, and us not following that and what that led to. So after Curtis and I met, we spent the summer together, we got to know each other, and we really enjoyed each other's company. So even though he lived in Kansas and had to go back to Kansas after the program was over, and I stayed in New York, we kept in touch, and our relationship grew, and I really enjoyed his company. We loved talking. We talked for hours and hours on the phone, and November, around there, after the summer we spent teaching together, we decided to give dating a try. Even though it was going to be long distance, we wanted to give it a try because we really enjoyed each other. So we started dating, and eventually Curtis moved to New York. So January after we met each other, Curtis actually moved to New York to be closer to me, and he got an apartment up here. And then that's when the physical side of things began. So I feel like one of the hardest things about a long distance relationship is you don't get to hold hands or to give your boyfriend, girlfriend a quick kiss, or to sit together and to cuddle and stuff, and like all of that, and you don't get, because you're long distance. So there's like a certain aspect of physical affection that I shouldn't say all, that a lot of people want, a lot of people need, and my love language is definitely physical touch. So like I can know people love me, but I feel loved by somebody sitting with me or holding my hand, just that like gentle, just being present with me. That's how like I will feel loved, even though like I might know somebody loves me when they say they do. I believe them, but like I feel it when they take the time to give me a hug, or just come and sit by me. So not having that for several months in our relationship was really hard for me. So when he got back, it was like that sudden, the floodgates just opened, and I wanted all of him all of the time. And that's really where it began. And it's one of those things where I wish I had known what I know now then, and I wish I had known that those feelings would just keep growing and growing and growing, and I really didn't at the time. I knew how procreation worked. I knew how you had a baby, but I didn't realize at the time how tempting that physical affection would be with somebody else. So our relationship grew, and of course there were great parts of it, and we had fun. We went and like saw movies together, and we hung out a lot, but ultimately that growing physical relationship that we had was causing a strain on both of our relationships, because our relationship with each other, because we had grown up taught that that was only allowed in marriage, and we both believed this. So to know that both of us were doing wrong together was something that kind of strained our relationship. And I'm sorry if you guys can hear like the background stuff. My husband is watching our son while I do this. Um, but knowing that we were both doing that, that we were really harming each other's souls, I guess, kind of, it will wear on your relationship when you both believe something to be wrong, but you continue to do it together. Is no way to build a sturdy foundation to your relationship. So, with that in mind, we decided that we needed to take a break from each other. And so, April, I think, we broke up. I'm doing quotations because we still saw each other quite a bit and still hung out with each other. And we definitely got better about that physical affection. We separated ourselves from each other. And then that summer, once again, we went back and taught the same Bible camp. This time at the end of it, Curtis did not have to go back to Kansas. During all of this, even when I had met Curtis, I had started to experience some pretty severe anxiety and depression. And I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember, even though I didn't always know what it's called. And it's something that like my parents helped me work through. But then when I turned 18 and I started to get out more into the world and get a job and go to college, it became more and more uncontrolled, and uncontrolled anxiety will then turn into depression as well. So I was struggling with both of these things throughout our relationship, and it's definitely something that just made it harder to follow those rules of not being intimate with your partner. So summer teaching was the worst summer ever because I was doing something really hard, physically exhausting, and at the same time I was battling with my mental health, which was just going downhill. So after that summer, I made it through the summer, and then but afterwards I definitely um, I felt exhausted and drained. So Curtis and I decided to start dating again, and there was like a little while, that we're like, relax, so I can finally relax. There's not this like thing going on. I had that break, and then I finally got to date Curtis again, and we were doing good, and we were doing really well with that like remaining chaste in our relationship and everything. And then college started again, and once college starts, it's like I was once again like my stress levels went way up, and Curtis was working a job that was not great, and then also transitioning into another job which was hopefully going to be better, and we were both super super stressed and not doing well, and I feel like neither of us were doing really well mentally, and I was definitely on the lower end of it, like just I had nothing left really. I just felt drained all of the time. So our remaining chase did not last long, and we fell back into that trap. And it was at this time that we ended up going all the way, and it once again strained our relationship. But unlike last time, every time we fell, we decided to get better, and so we kind of did this like up and down thing, up and down, where we were like, okay, we need to get better, and then we can do this, and then it would go downhill again, which wasn't terrible. We were at least trying at that time, even though I definitely did not have the energy to teach myself self-control or anything like that, and we were still making those same mistakes. We were hanging out alone, which is never a good idea if you're trying to remain chaste. It's just like, especially if you have a history of that close physical relationship, you can't be alone together. It just doesn't work. We should have, planned different types of dates and stuff. But no, we were alone together a lot. We were both stressed, and it's just like all of those are just markers for giving in to temptation. And you're not even supposed to put yourself in a situation of temptation, and we were every time we saw each other. So obviously we fell over and over again. And at the end of 2019, starting in December, I was like, Curtis, I want to be better. And he agreed. I was like, no more of this. We're gonna meet and set like in public places and do all of these things. And so we agreed to do that. Phone died, but I'm back now. Alright, so I was talking about December was like best month of my life. I still remember it. I was a very happy month. I was getting mental health help. I was doing better in my relationship with Curtis. We were actually maintaining a chaste relationship, and it was the Christmas season, which is just a joyful season. And it was gonna be my first Christmas spending it with Curtis, since Curtis was gonna come over and spend Christmas with us, because obviously he was in New York and you know, he couldn't go back. He wasn't able to fly back to Kansas to spend it with his family, so he was gonna come and spend it with me, and I was so excited. Hang on a second. I just realized that my camera was like tilted this way, and I was like, no, that's not gonna do. I fixed it. It's good. My inner perfectionism can go sit on a shelf now. So, very happy. Just time for me. It was a great month. I will always remember it as a great month. Towards like middle of the month, I started to feel nauseous a lot. Not terrible nausea, just kind of like in the back of your head nausea, and just more tired than usual. And I think my mental health kind of started to dip down a little bit. I just felt a little more depressed than usual, which is annoying for the Christmas season. But regardless, I was fine. I was like, I'll push through it, whatever. After Christmas, it started to get worse. And I was like, okay, no, like, there's got to be something going on, you know. At first, I had just talked it up to, like, you know, there's extra stressors during Christmas, and I am known to be nauseous when I'm anxious, so I was like, it's probably just that. But it started to become more than just that. Like, I was feeling really ill in the mornings and just tired all of the time. It was, like, hard to keep working. So I talked to Curtis about it, and he was like, we should take a pregnancy test. And I was like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. Well, at this point, I'm late for my period by a week, and Curtis is like, we're taking a pregnancy test. And I was like, fine, okay, let's take it. It'll be negative, whatever. Not the case. I took it. I went over to his place. I took it. He wanted to be there when I took it, just in case it was positive. I'm glad he was. I took it, and it was positive. And it was an immediate, like, just crying, sobbing. Like, I had no idea what to do. I showed Curtis, and he just wrapped his arms around me and held me close and was like, we can do this. We're gonna be fine. So yeah, we're now going to have to tell everyone that we did not have a chaste relationship. That we'd been sleeping together, and now we had a baby because of it. So that was gonna be fun. It wasn't fun. It was, after that, a whole month of just constant, like, ups and downs and everywhere, all over the place, and feeling terrible about myself, terrible about my relationship, terrible that, like, I had let my family down, and all of these things. I told my mom by myself. It kind of just accidentally came out one day. I was just so exhausted and so tired of keeping the secret, because our original plan is, we thought, we were like, well, let's wait to see if the baby sticks before we tell people. And I'm glad we didn't wait very long. I couldn't wait very long. And my original reason also was that if I did miscarry, I didn't want to go through that alone either. Because as much as it was difficult for me to be pregnant at 19, to not be married, still living with my parents, still in school, working a minimum wage job, like, I loved my baby. And even though I didn't want him to be there in that moment, like, I wished that we could just put a pause on it until I was married. I loved him, and I didn't want to lose him. And I was terrified of a miscarriage. I did not want to lose my baby. So I didn't want to go through that alone. And so ultimately I ended up telling my mom. And she kind of told everyone else. Kind of like took that buffer for me and told everyone else about it. I told a few of my sisters, and most of everyone took it fairly well. I didn't like lose hundreds of friends over it, which I was very grateful for. My relationships definitely became different. Some of them were harder, some more strained. Some people did leave, no longer interested. and having a relationship with me. And it was a really hard time. But through that all, Curtis and I stuck together. We held each other up. We got through it. And I think it's always harder for the girl because she's the one carrying the baby. She's the one who's going to start showing, and there's no way to hide that. Eventually it shows, and you're kind of like carrying around for the rest of your pregnancy, telling them like, hey everybody, I slept with my boyfriend. Like, it's not fun. And one thing I was really grateful for is that everyone at my job didn't judge me. They didn't care that I was 19 and pregnant. They just accepted it as it was. Told me that they were really happy for me. I worked with people who were mentally disabled, and they were all really excited for my baby. They couldn't wait for the baby to be born. So I was really grateful for that. And everyone I lived with also was very excited for my baby. Even if it was rough at first, and like a lot of my younger siblings didn't really understand, we got through it, and we stuck together as a family. Curtis and I stuck to each other, and we got through the pregnancy. It was not an easy pregnancy. I dealt with a lot of hip pain. I was nauseous all up until like the last 2 months, and then starting after I was overdue for almost 2 weeks, I started to feel nauseous then again. And I was induced because I was overdue, and really struggling. I started to really struggle, like physically and mentally. Like, I was feeling sick again every day. It was really hard to like move around. I was having really awful hip pain. So after all of that, I made the decision to be induced. Wasn't my original plan. I had a whole plan that just didn't go as planned. You can go watch my birth story just to learn about that. 48 hours of labor, and then finally, at long last, I had my son. And I was thrilled. And to be honest, I didn't cry when he was born. Curtis cried though, and they were beautiful tears. But I was overjoyed, over the moon. It just felt so surreal to finally, like, after everything you go through, you make the choice to carry through with your pregnancy. You make the choice that the baby's going to live, that you're going to give them life. You're making sacrifices every day because they're using your body to grow. After getting through all of that, and through people not agreeing that I was pregnant, and like not agreeing with my life choices, and I mean, I didn't agree with my life choices either, but whatever. I did what I did, and I was willing to bear the consequences. And after getting through all of that, just to the moment where I finally got to hold my son, it just felt so real. It felt fake. Like, for the next week, I just couldn't. I would just look at this child that, like, I made him. I grew him in my body, and I finally had him. And it was just like, it was amazing. And there is nothing that I can say that will accurately tell people, like, what that feeling is. And Curtis was feeling the same way. Like, he would look at Amos sometimes and hold him in his arms and be like, we made this. Like, we made that. And I will, it was not an easy path. I wish that I had been smarter about my relationship with Curtis, that we had both been able to be chaste. Because I think that it would have made a better foundation for a relationship. But in the end, we didn't. We made our mistakes, but we also took the consequences of those mistakes. And honestly, the most beautiful consequence for not remaining chaste in a relationship is a baby, and we will never regret him. We will never regret our choice for life or having him, because he is amazing. And even though being a mom is not always easy, it's a privilege, and he is amazing, and it's so wonderful to watch him grow and to become the little person that he is. But continuing with my story, after he was born, Curtis and I continued a relationship. The March in 2021, Curtis proposed, asked me to marry him, and of course I said yes. And October afterwards, we got married, so we are now married for almost 4 months now, and we are living together. We have a small apartment that we share with both of us and Amos, and we're doing pretty good. Marriage is a whole nother game changer, and it was a huge transition because you went from like, you know, basically I was like living a single mom life, even though Curtis was coming over every day after work to spend time with his son and to try to help me out, and he was there on the weekends to help me. You know, he's not there all day, and you don't get that like closeness in a relationship of, you know, being able to live together. You know, it's just different. It's very different. And so there were a lot of things that I was used to about Amos, like spending the nights with him and him waking up at night, because he still does that today, that Curtis had to get used to after we got married. But it was fine, you know, and we got through it again. Our relationship is still going strong. We are able to work through problems together. I feel like also, you know, having that very young pregnancy, like getting pregnant at 19, and Curtis was 22. I think he just turned 22. I don't remember. I'm not doing the math right now. You know, you're pregnant very young, and you have a kid really young, and you're not married, and that's different, and it's difficult. But I would never go back to change a thing. Like, if some magic miracle happened and you got a chance to go back and change things about your life, I would never do it. You might think it's cliche, but if just changing one word that I said might make it different in the future, and I might not have Amos, and I might not be married to Curtis, I don't want to change any of that. And no matter how hard it was, like, it was worth it. It was so worth it, because now I am married to the man who gave me Amos, and we have our son, and we're a happy family together, and there is nothing in the world that could make me not want that. Obviously, everybody's story is different, and this is just my story, and I hope that by sharing my story and what I went through and where I'm at today, I can help people choose life and choose and see that it can end up this positive. It can end up this way. You know, even if you don't end up with your partner, you can still have a healthy relationship with them. You can still have your baby, and it can still be an amazing experience. And it's not worth giving up. And so hopefully I can share this positivity with people and through my story. That's pretty much it. I'm like completely zoning out. I'm just like, I get into this zone where I like start thinking about my baby and my husband, and I'm just like, anyway, thank you for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was clearer, better understand, maybe a better picture to look at than my first video. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. And I also have other videos with other content, and if you are ever questioning any parts of my story, you can go and check them out. I have one about my birth experience with Amos, and my engagement story with Curtis, so I will link those down below, and feel free to go and check them out. Once again, thank you for watching.